So our next presenter is Ms. Chelsea Ullman from Public Policy and Administration for the Trachtenberg School. Her presentation is entitled, How Can Policy Be Used to Get Justice for Campus Sexual Assault Survivors? Chelsea.
Hi. Campus sexual assault is a big problem in the United States, affecting a significant proportion of college students, most of whom are women. 1 in 5 college women will experience some form of unwanted sexual contact by the time she finishes 4 years of school. Campus sexual assault has been sort of an increasing focus of policy debate, as you've probably noticed over the past decade, with sort of increasing access to justice for survivors under the Obama administration and a seeming contraction of access to justice for survivors under the Trump administration. But in all of this policy debate, there seems to be lacking a deeper understanding of what justice even means for survivors of campus sexual assault. And so if we don't know how survivors themselves define justice, how are we supposed to expect policy to help them get justice? So to get at this question, I conducted a qualitative grounded theory study that had 3 main parts. So first, I interviewed survivors, most of whom had filed some sort of justice process and pursued that. I also interviewed campus administrators, all of whom were working specifically on campus sexual assault. And I also conducted focus groups with survivor advocates. The central questions for all of these participants: what does justice mean for survivors of campus sexual assault, and how can policy help them get there? So several interesting themes emerged from the analysis of this qualitative study. Justice means holding your perpetrator accountable, and hopefully that person feels some sense of remorse. Justice means the freedom to move about your campus without fear and intimidation, and the freedom to pursue your education. Justice means being met with a process that's fair. If you do choose to come forward and report, you want that process to be fair and not be tilted in favor of the accused. Justice means being believed. But surprisingly, the most common, heavily emphasized, striking finding in terms of how participants were defining justice was in the language of prevention. Justice means this doesn't happen to anybody else. And so justice for survivors is living within institutions that are actively trying to prevent campus sexual assault. So these findings led me to what I'm calling the just prevention theory, which explains justice for survivors of campus sexual assault as primarily achieved through the meaningful prevention of sexual assault in all institutions across levels. Now, this theory does not, by any means, get institutions off the hook for doing all of the things that they're already doing to support survivors and respond to this problem, things like counseling and other justice mechanisms. All of that should be maintained and scaled up. But what this theory does say is that prevention is, if not a sufficient condition for justice, it is a necessary condition for justice. And in fact, prevention is the foundation of justice. And so since this is a policy dissertation, the just prevention theory does have transformative possibilities for the way we think about how policy can get justice to survivors. And if you're interested in this more, you can read the full dissertation with policy recommendations that I successfully defended 2 days ago.